Hey everyone. Hello, hello. 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 Hey everyone, how you doing? Hey Stefan, how you doing? Um, we're going live. It's my birthday today. I'm 47 years old. I put out a video earlier just to share to everyone, and I added in some thoughts about life, you know, the future, getting things done, and generally just trying to be a happy guy. I think I'm a happy guy. Well, I like to think I'm a happy guy, but I like to work hard. I do find myself in a bit of a predicament. Someone has booked a one to one, which normally I don't mind. I forgot to block off the whole day. How can you forget to block off your birthday? I forgot to block off the whole day. So I want to go to like a meal out with my family, and they've literally booked at the exact time that I'm planning to go out. So I've emailed them. They just booked it. What time is it now? They booked it 21 minutes ago. And I've emailed them to say, can we rearrange the time or do it tomorrow? Or I can just refund you. Don't worry about that. I'll fully refund you. I don't mind. No reply. So I've sent another email going, come on, So I find myself in a bit of a predicament at the moment. Please do comment. Let me know where you're from. Just because number one, I need to know that everything is actually working. Often, one of the things I'm finding a little bit annoying with the live chats is sometimes people are writing and I see nothing on the chat, and then like it updates and like 10 minutes worth of chat appears, and I can't quite work out why that's happening. It's not because of the way I'm streaming, by the way. It will be just, hey, old fat trucker, how you doing? It often can be just down to YouTube. YouTube is not always robust. Let me tell you that now. So I released my page auditor code snippet today. If anyone has been trying it out, do let me know how you're finding it. I've tested it on 5 websites in total, and it works absolutely fine on all 5. Someone did raise to me on the Face Web Squadron Facebook group that they were having issues, and they gave me a login for their website because I said, let me have a look. And I found that I couldn't put my finger on why it's not working properly on their website, but I feel like there's other stuff going on. So, unfortunately, like with any code snippet or plugin you use, when you add something to a website that's already got loads of stuff built, sometimes there might be something else that kind of stops it working. And when I say stops working, it won't affect your website. All it affects is the page auditor in terms of the results. But I have found it's working fine. So if anyone out there is using the page auditor, please do let me know. Either as a comment on in fact, do it as a comment on the YouTube video. That's always works really well. If you do it here, I might forget because I'm obviously talking and I'm not going to start making notes. And there's no point emailing me and sending me DMs because, sometimes I don't like to focus on DMs either because then you have a message here, message there, message everywhere. To stick a comment in the YouTube video, that's great for the video, number one, because you leave a comment. And number two, if I do reply, anyone else that has that same issue or whatever, they may have a reply or an explanation or a sorry, I'm not sure what that is kind of thing. So it keeps it kind of in the public domain, which is why I don't like it whenever people send me a private email. And often they go, oh, because, we wanted to keep it private. And I'm like, just do it publicly. I've put the video out publicly, so just go for it. So if anyone out there is using it, give it a go. Make sure you take a backup. If you got a staging site, even better. I mean, this person whose website where it wasn't working, because I had a login, I created a completely brand new page. And even then, it wasn't working. And that says to me, it doesn't matter how big your page is. If from the get go it's not working, something's wrong with the website, something somewhere. I can't put my finger on it. Do you know what I mean? Right? And It works on mine. I even stuck it on my web squadron.co.uk website when I was testing. I took a risk. I put it on there. Why should you take a risk if I'm not going to take a risk? And it worked fine. Stuck it on a Taste WP, so it's not even our host provider. Worked fine. I mean, I have found that when I was testing, I was always using Hello and Elemental Pro, or Elemental and Hello. Now, I can't. Some people have asked me the question, and it's a good question. They've said, what about Astra? What about Cadence? What about Bloxy? What about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? And I've said there comes a point where I can't vouch for every single different theme and template. I tested and I realized on Sunday that trying to get this to work for Gutenberg, Bricks, Breakdance, others was just too much of an ask because there were so many variables and stuff going on. It just became very, very difficult to cover off everything, to catch every eventuality or where it might audit something that actually is not part of the page and it's part of the back end that doesn't affect you at all or what they'll see on the front end became very, very tricky. So I had to restrict it down to just be elemental. But even then, if you've got a website and you've stuck in some other code or some other optimization or something that affects JavaScript or I don't know, minification of stuff, it will affect the snippet, right? The page auditor. But that is where I say what you have to remember. And I like to think I got this over clearly in the video, and maybe I didn't, so I'll make it clear here, and I might do a future update video just to say, please remember about the page auditor. The page auditor should help you to become a better designer and page builder, right? Because if you can get your head around the use of font clamp, alt text, WebP, structuring your page in terms of don't skip your heading orders, thinking about ARIA descriptions for your icons that have a link and a vague description or no description, stuff like that. Make sure your headings aren't too long, so make sure there are not more than 12 words maximum. There was some other stuff. Don't duplicate your landmarks. Be careful of that. If you do duplicate your WordPress menu, so you stick it in your header and you stick it in your footer, make sure you change the name of that WordPress menu when you have that setting, right? So that, because that is what will be used for the ARIA label navigation and all of that. So if you get that into your rhythm of how you build, you probably won't need to ever use the audit tool again. Does that make sense, what I'm saying here? Because it's one of those things where we've built websites and we always yeah, that's a good comment, old fat trucker. Yeah, help desk software. I don't want to become help desk for people though. I really don't want to be like managing queries and support tickets. But at some point, we would have built websites using pixels. Do you know what I mean? Everything was a pixel in terms of font size. And then at some point, you got on board with EM and REM. And then you started using REM. And now and again, you mixed. Some were pixel, some were REM. And then you got on board with font clamp, right? Sticking in formulas. So you started running with that. And then you started creating your own CSS framework. So you stick custom CSS either into the element or your site settings or your theme or some other snippet plugin, whatever you did, right? You start running with that. You are evolving. And you know that if you had a brand new website now, any new website I work on, I take like a framework that I use on every single website. I just take a copy of that, stick it in, and all I do is refine it if I have to. So if we've decided that our normal is 16 pixel right, then I make sure that is what it is in REM. Or if we decide because of the font family, we're going to go with 15.5 or something, that, you adjust things like that, or you use the scale option because we got that in the font clamp calculator as well. So you pick one size and then it scales it in steps up and down kind of thing. So you could do that as well. But what you've done from when you went from Pixel to REM to Clamp Calculator to using like a CSS framework, which includes your font clamps in there, is you've evolved. And that is what I think the page auditor is going to do. I think there is going to be people who, when they load it on, say, a page they've already built or they're building, they're going to be so shocked and surprised at all the things they've overlooked. There's going to be people who have got icons that was a link, but that icon did not have descriptive text. So for a screen reader, someone using technology like that, when they get to the button, they would have got nothing to tell them that this is a link to X, Y, and Z. So how are they going to know to hit space or enter? And I hope that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear from people. I want to know that the page auditor has made you adapt and evolve. It won't solve everything. I'm still waiting for the negative comments to come flying in my face where they go, what about this? And what about that? And what about that? I've never claimed this is going to fix everything, every accessibility issue under the sun. But if it educates you to think about your color contrast, not just of your text to the background, maybe of a button, but also the background to the page background, or the text to the page background, or however you want to say it, because it could have multiple levels. Text, button background, page background. You could be failing on all of them. If it helps you to just draw out and see the issue, and it helps you out, I tell me the last other tool out there that really helped you out in terms of the guidance I give. And I've kept it as plain English as I can without confusing people. Layman's terms, and not sending you off to another link to go and read literature. If you doubt what I'm saying, because I even highlight if on the mobile you navigate. Whoa, I hit the microphone, Dan. I hit the microphone. I also highlight that if you're on the mobile and you got your menu items, or you got buttons or icons of links, controls we call them, right? If your controls have less than 12 pixel gap, minimum 12 pixel between the items, it will flag it. I have to be honest, I never fully respected that one. And another one that I knew about, but again, I don't speak about it a lot, and I bet a lot of people aren't aware, is that anywhere where you have a control, could be a toggle, could be a button, could be an icon, anything where you require someone to touch, it must not be smaller than 24 by 24 pixel. And again, a lot of people overlook that. Like, they've literally got social sharing icons, right? Like, they might have like a team profile card and they've got a picture of a face of someone and their title, and underneath they've got their social media icons. And the social media icons are quite close. And where some of them are not close, they're less than 24 by 24 pixel. I'm telling you now, they are less than 24 by 24. And it might not just be the icon, because the icon could be 20 pixel, but the padding around it, and you might not see the padding, but what it means is the touch area where they can touch and control that icon or button must be 24 by 24. 48 by 48 even better, but 24 by 25 is the minimum. And so many people don't do that. So I think, this is going to educate a whole load of people. By the way, old fat trucker, I've got a feeling the chat is either delayed or something's not right. I'm not sure. It might be me. I'm not sure. So, if anyone is watching right now, can you just say, can you just say hello in the comment? And I'm just going to time it from how long it takes for anyone, like literally anyone, to say hello. So, there we go. Oh, so it is. All right. So it is working. Maybe it's just me then. There we go. It is working. So there's normally always about a 10 to 15-second delay ish. Hey, Nick. Hey, me, myself, and I. Pancho, 47. You look 46. I am feeling my age. Pancho says, is it true that for your web birthday, you're creating free websites, teaching us to lunch, even paying for us? No, but I did give you the page auditor today for free. That's my birthday presents for everyone. I am planning the first Web Squadron led Elementor meetup and WordPress meetup, more Elementor, for October the 18th in Leicester City Centre. It's going to cost me £96 to hire a room for 2 hours. Actually, it's going to be a bit more because I'll need the room for a bit more. Damn, I'll need it more. But I'm going to pay for it myself with a maximum of 45 people, not including me, can attend. And I'm going to put it on Meetup. I hope people attend. I hope I can get sponsorship for it because I can't keep paying for things out my own back pocket. I could do, but, I don't want to all the time. But I'm pretty damn sure I'm going to do it. And it will be an opportunity to just talk, meet and greet, talk about things, talk about Elementor, talk about how to use things. There may be people, hopefully, that attend that are still quite new to Elementor or they're apprehensive. Could be businesses, could be loads of people. But it could be people who want to voice their concerns or opinions as well. And I don't know if it's completely possible yet, but there may be a chance that I might be able to record it. So I might be able to, have like my phone or something recording us and the attendees talking. However, I do worry about the sound quality. How would we manage the sound? I can't remember if there's a microphone. There probably isn't, but I'm sure I'll work it out. I'm sure I'll work it out. Or something like that. But that's what I'm looking for. By the way, thanks, Nick. Happy birthday to me. um, October 18, Leicester City Centre. It is literally in the city centre, so it's not. It's like 5-ish minute walk from the train station. There's loads of parking opportunities, areas, pay parking though. But and I'm planning to do it at midday to 2 p.m. So it is midday, 2 p.m. But what I feel like is on a Saturday, it's not early morning. It's not evening either. It's kind of at a 12 to 2 slot, which I hope is adequate for people. And I also feel like on a Saturday can work better. A lot of these meetups tend to happen on a weekday in the evening. And I always feel a bit like, but that might not be practical for some people with families and stuff like that. Oh man, there's a doorbell. Hold on. It's all right. It was a parcel, but they've dumped it into the front, so I'm not overly worried about it. Just got to double check they've actually left it. It's one of the highlights, isn't it? When you have a doorbell, ring doorbell. Yeah, they've dumped it in. Cool. All right. I don't even know what it is. It's probably my wife ordering stuff. The trouble with my wife, right, is she's addicted to Vinted. And she buys stuff all the time for herself. Not for me, for herself, so I don't care. Yes, Nick, so we have a proposed date. October 18, Tower Kangas, how you doing? It's one of these things. Hey, Jurgen. Hey, I've mentioned this earlier in the live chat. If anyone is trying out the page auditor, do let me know how you find it, okay? Let me know in the comments of the YouTube video, because it helps to keep everything in one place. One of the things I'm a little bit worried about, and I'm not scared, but I am a little bit like cautious, is making sure that if you are going to do like an event, even though it's about Elemental, how do you keep it interesting? And how do you set up your agenda that is actually interesting? I find a lot of meetups, I see a lot of them, right? They might be WordPress related. I don't go to any. But when I look at what they're covering, I just find like they're not really ever really about WordPress often. So Jurgen says, I have an issue installing the script in code snippets. The moment I paste the code, it messes up the entire page layout. This also happens when I edit snippet. Really? Now that's interesting. I mean, you are using the code snippet plugin and you are pasting it. Now, when you say it messes up the page layout, it shouldn't touch your, well, it shouldn't touch your page layout whatsoever, because it's auditing what's there. And are you using Hello, an Elemental Pro, or are you using something else? Are you using anything else? Because what I'm going to say is, if you... Oh, I hate it when I get reCAPTCHA issues. Try Control-Shift-V to paste. Yeah, I mean, you're saying the moment I paste the code. I mean, that is a bit weird. You say you paste the code, so does it mess up before you even activate it? I mean, that feels weird. And it is the Code Snippets plugin. You got Hello Elemental Pro. And when you say it messes up the entire page layout, do you mean it messes up the code snippet page layout? Or the actual page? Like, you're not able to activate it? Because I just tested it out again an hour ago. Again, on a completely brand new website. Nothing to do with me, not even hosted by me. Now, when you say the code snippet layout, is it that you find that it messes up the left-hand side? Because what happens is code snippets updated their layout when they did their latest version. And what I have found is that if you've got any code that is quite long, right, what happens is it causes the window where you stick your code in to go long. And sometimes what happens is your WordPress sidebar, the code overlaps, or it feels like it goes under, and you get like a transparent effect. But that's only on the code snippets window. But that, I believe, is due to code snippets changing the front end of where you stick your code in. Because I noticed that, but I noticed that with ages ago when they first did it. You put in a big bit of code that's long, like long and wide. It overflows the layout. That's basically what it's doing. Is that what you mean or not? Oh, sorry, I just realized I haven't done something here. Is that what you mean? I mean, I might be wrong. I'm not saying that is definitely what's happening to you, but I have noticed that at the moment. What's this? Someone's just sent me a message. I just got to quickly reply to a few messages that have popped in very quickly like that. Yeah, overflows the layout. Yeah, basically that's what it's doing. So Jurgen, it's all because code. So recently Code Snippets did an update So when you had your snippet above, you had activate, deactivate. You had the toggle or whatever it was. Was it a toggle or was it a button? I can't remember. And then they switched it. So now the control moved over to the right hand side, and you now have this like little pane there. And when you have big code, that pane just goes off the screen. It just goes like that, woo, like that, right? So if you've got a very succinct bit of code, very slimish, you won't notice it. Big code, you will notice it. And unfortunately, there are some lines in that code that are quite long because of the way it amalgamates stuff to then present back into the pane. I know I spotted that, and at first I thought, hold on, is that my code? And then I tested it out with someone else's code, which is long, and I was like, code snippets. And maybe they've not tested it or not spotted it. Um, it's something that you could easily overlook. What kind of topics do you think would be interesting? I mean, I kind of had an idea about what topics I want to cover. You know, talking about how to get the best out of how you build with Elementor. So it very much links into the page auditor, but thinking about your structure and accessibility, and also about, collecting resources from clients, standing your ground, don't get taken for a ride. But anyone got any like things that they think would be good and interesting to discuss at an Elementor meetup? Yeah, you're right, Jurgen. It's basically the new version of code snippets. And I just feel like until they test out when they did the changes they did, because I bet what's happened is they've just taken a small bit of code, chucked it in, and gone, yeah, it works. So everything's cool. But the minute you put in a big bit of code, it overflows, and the sidebar, when you scroll, it goes under, doesn't it? And you go, what? What's it doing there? But it doesn't affect the rest of your website. It won't affect the rest of your website. It's just that little bit of a snippet window. So anyone got any thoughts or anything they feel? I've just got to quickly check a message that's come in on Facebook because I was double checking with someone about something. Yeah, okay. So someone obviously, contacted me to say the page auditor wasn't working well for them, and I checked in and said I can't see why not. Even on a brand new page, though, it's not working. So something else is happening. Now they've told me they use the Templately plugin. So that's the thing, right? Okay. If you're using other themes and other templates or other stuff from other places, they are going to play a part. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is with any SEO, any optimization tool, anything and everything, right? Because the most common complaint with Elementor is Elementor did an update, my website broke. And then you go back to them and you say, are you using Elementor add-ons? And they go, yeah, but Elementor should have made sure it worked. Why do Elementor have to make sure their updates work for the add-on? The add-on companies are made aware of the changes 1 or 2 weeks prior, so they could have been proactive. A lot of them aren't. They wait until an issue happens and then they fix it reactively. But whenever Elementor do an update, some people, like I said, they've got add-ons. And then some of those people will say, yeah, I know that, but the page that broke was not using the Elementor add-on. So let's say they went and installed Elements Kit or Master add-ons or Premium Elements, whatever. And they say, I installed it because I wanted a special carousel. But on this page, I was not using any add-on elements. And I have to then say to them, yes, that's great. But when you add plugins onto your website, into your plugin area, assets, code will still be present on nearly every other page, which is why assets cleanup was a great solution when I started using it. And I know many people do, because you could stop a lot of things happening. You know, like WooCommerce. Did you need to have every WooCommerce? Did you need to have every Presto player? Did you need to have every paid membership pro asset loading on your homepage if there wasn't any widget or element on the homepage where it was needed? So I find that, you know, me and others, we can do the best we can, but we can't preempt every variable that could kick off when you have other plugins and stuff. Um, oh, are you really? Oh, I did not know that. I've missed that. So obviously I've not paid much attention to that. So I'm gonna double check now. So you're saying that there is something there. Ugh, just went onto the wrong website. That's the wrong website. Right, let me just wait. Web Squadron.uk. You're saying there's a button at the top, expand. Are you sure? Are you sure? I think you're right. I think there's a toggle, isn't there? It might be a toggle. Right, so I'm just going to double check this. This is how long it's taking for me to log in because I keep putting in the wrong website address. Right, so I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to just put my screen on and hopefully you should see me in a moment. Here we are. Let me just minimize myself a bit. There we go. You can see where I was like, you know, all the different versions when I was testing it out. So we go over here. Because obviously what happens is, so this is the thing that happens, right? Because the code is really long, can you see it goes under the sidebar? It moves the sidebar, and then this goes all the way to the right. Is there a button? Under the snippet title, hit expand. Ah. Well, hold on. Yeah, that... I'm not sure I like that, because then this bit is all the way at the bottom. I'm not sure I like that, but yeah, that works. That does work. I've completely overlooked that. Completely overlooked that. I mean, I don't like it completely, because all of this is at the bottom. However, it is a solution. So thank you very much, me, myself, and I, for letting us know about that. I've completely ignored that button. I never saw the point of it, but now I do. You learn something every day. But look, it's a solution, right? However, I would have preferred it if they made it go to the top. Why doesn't your code work with my front page developed website? It's been built to only work with Elementor. So mainly because it starts to become tricky trying to cover off all of the little nuances that other page builders use in how they name things. I actually believed you there, old fat trucker, when you said that. And I didn't want to say, why are you using front page? No one uses that anymore, really, you know, but I did believe you then. I actually thought, yeah, that must be what you're using. I am getting more and more worried as the time goes on because someone's obviously hired me for a one-to-one and I've told them I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm busy. So if I don't get a reply from them closer to the time, I'm just going to refund it and just say, look, we can reschedule if you want, but today ain't happening. It's my birthday. So when my son gets home from football, he needs to tidy himself up because he's playing football after school. And then we are going to go for a meal at an Indian restaurant, literally just in our village town bit. It's not a village, it's a town. I don't know why I keep saying village, it's a town. And I'm going to have some sheik kebabs or sheik kebabs. I will have like a meat platter full of meat, like lamb chops and chicken and some kebabs and stuff. And then I might have something else with it. Not entirely sure yet what. And that will be me. And that will be me done and done and done for the day. My son, Raheem, I think he'll have samosa. He likes the samosas. He'll probably have some chicken. And he'll probably have what's known as a keema naan. So it's like your naan bread, your thin naan, chapati almost, with a very flattened minced meat in between it. So he'll probably go for that. Something like that. Congratulations. Oh, sorry, you mean for that? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 47. 47, and I hope you saw the video I put out today. That video I did for many, many reasons. It was for all of you, my subscribers, community, WordPress, Elemental people. But it was also because I stuck it on Twitter and LinkedIn and my personal Facebook. I don't always stick videos on the personal Facebook. I don't share much WordPress Elemental stuff there. But I think a lot of people don't appreciate what I do. And it was almost like me saying to them that I'm not always around. I won't always come to your house. I won't always ring you up or text you or whatever. But you got to understand, I have my own priorities. And just like I never ever question what you do, you shouldn't ever question what I do. And I was trying to be subtle in the way I did it, because when you try and juggle things that you want to achieve before you drop dead, that becomes my priority. And making other people feel happy because I came to their house, that does not make me happy. And I feel like my happiness is more important. I know that I know that if my son and wife and other people are happy, I'm happy. So when I say my happiness is my priority, I don't mean that in a selfish way. Because if I'm happy but my son's not happy, then I'm not happy. Does that make sense? There's like a paradox going on here. But I know that I could go somewhere and it might make someone happy, but I won't be happy. And my son won't care, and no one else will care, but they will. And I'm not here to make others happy. You make yourself happy. Don't rely and wait on other people to make you happy. You do you. Make yourself happy. Enjoy being young. Oh dear, I don't know. Am I halfway through my life? Maybe I'm past the halfway point. Maybe I'm now well into the final days. Well, that's scary, isn't it? That would be very scary. You see, the way I go, I've got videos currently uploaded into YouTube. So the cover art's done, everything's done. They're already uploaded until the 23rd of December. How scary would it be if I suddenly, drop dead now? And you all heard about it. I mean, I've still got videos coming out. And people are still asking questions on the videos. Imran, can you tell me about this? I'm dead. I'm gone. I can't help you. And people know this. They know this. It's been announced. It's all over the news, right? Everyone's upset. There was like an international silent minute for everyone. It's all over Facebook, all over the podcasts everywhere. Imran's gone. But then a video comes out, and then someone goes, "Hey Imran, I heard something bad happened to you, but could you please look at this for me?" I reckon it will happen. Not that I'll be able to do anything about it, because I'll be long gone. But hey, AI will take over. God, yeah, that's the plan. But I do like it when I not forward plan, but when I'm able to stay ahead of the curve in terms of the videos I produce. because it's a nice feeling knowing that if suddenly I was really ill, like really severely incapacitated, right? Uh, really busy with projects, things are kicking off. I've got no time to do anything for 1 month, say. I've still got stuff to go out. So there's always something happening. That's a nice feeling. And I think a lot of businesses that do marketing, they don't think like that, do they? They're almost just like they might hire someone or something like that, but they're not, they're not thinking like long term. I think ChatGPT knows me really, really well, old fat trucker. Because I asked it on last Friday, I said, "What do you think of me?" And it gave a very decent response. It pointed out some things of how I get irritated when it doesn't get things right. It pointed that out. But it also pointed to how I'm very meticulous, how I'm very particular about things, how I don't let things drop or disappear. I don't, I don't give up. I'm always trying to be. It did point out that you are very different in how you approach things and the solutions you come up with. And it even said it's learning a lot from how I tackle problems, which I think is interesting. You know, uh, it's something that has been one of my strengths when I used to work in the NHS in analytics. And we're trying to do this, or we're trying to data mine, or we're trying to handle different data sets. And data warehouse developers want to go like this. Some people want to do a snowflake schema. Some want to do not snowflake, not star. I can't remember that other schema. And someone else wants to do something else because that's what they've already done. And I would come in and I would just say, why don't we just go, duh, solve that, solve that, solve that, solve that. And then now we've got all of these little bits solved. Then we amalgamate or merge or use the output. Why are you all trying to do everything in one go? That's why you're failing. Duh, 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 duh. And if that ever changes, you do that. That changes, you do that. And then you bring it all into one and it works. And oh, look at this. It now takes 3 minutes to run what was originally taking 8 hours. I'm not kidding you here. Some of the solutions people were creating, like literally you'd have to hit the button at the start of the day and let it do its stuff. And 8 hours later, it would come up with the solutions and logic and stuff. Really complex stuff. And when I create my solution, 3 minutes from start to finish. 3 minutes is still long, but 3 minutes. So if you made a tweak, you could test it. Before, if you made a tweak and you tested it, it was 8 hours. It was literally like you could only do like 1 or 2 tweaks a day unless someone was working late. It was ridiculous. But I always like to be not methodical. What's the word? I like to be efficient. I always have efficiency in my head. And that's what I hope the page auditor is going to do and help people out with. It's going to make you be efficient, help you to be a better page builder, help you to see things that you never ever considered or were told about, and also keep it really simple and easy for you to have the power to influence and make those changes. Old fat trucker there, start training AI now to take over for you when you're gone. Oh, that sounds really depressing. So I've been live for 44 minutes. I'm going to be live. I'll probably be live until for another half an hour. I started about 20 minutes early-ish. I think I started 20 minutes early just because I had the time to do it. And it was stressing me out that someone's booked me for a one-to-one, but I can't make it. Normally when someone books you for a one-to-one, you're going to go, yay! but I'm like, I won't be here. Um, and I hate that. I really hate it. I mean, like they booked it, and within 4 minutes of them booking, I was like, because I saw it. Then you see, I saw it 4 minutes after they've done it. I've gone back to them, and they've still not replied to me. So anyone got any ideas? Anyone got anything that they think would be useful to discuss at an elemental meetup? Anything got anything that they think would be of, can't stop yawning, of interest to people who want to learn about elemental? Could be the business side, could be the client side. It could be dealing with those difficult clients who, they hold back, or they want their deposit back, or there's scope creep and all of that. Or, yeah, I mean, I think they're interesting topics. I always feel that if you do like an elemental meetup and you focus on the features, oh, there's this, there's that, oh, they've changed the carousel, I think it can be a bit boring. Because if someone turns up somewhere, I don't think they want to sit there learning about features and how do I use this and how do I use that. Someone might say, how do I how do I use the flip card? And you could spend 10 minutes going over it, and there might be a load of people that are like, I don't care about flip card, but they got to sit there and listen to it. Do you know what I mean? You want to keep, you almost want the topics and the questions. I mean, you can't predict the questions, but you almost want to set it out that, if we go into anything too specific, that is more for a separate private one-to-one, or, if there's time, we'll cover it off towards the end. But we want to keep things quite broad, not generic, but broad. You want to know that if people are giving up 2 hours, well, not just 2 hours, you could argue they're giving up 4 hours of their life, because there might be an hour before when they're going to get ready, get to the venue, whatever. I've just realized something's happened here. Let me just close that down. Close, 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 close. Right. They might travel and get there. That's 1 hour. 2 hours for the session, and then 1 hour traveling, going home, whatever, grabbing something to eat before, after, all of that. That's 4 hours. You're asking people to give up. I want to make it worth it. I don't want people to come to an elemental WordPress event meetup just because it's an elemental meetup, which is why I have not attended quite a lot of meetups that have happened not too far around me. Like, there's the one in London. I think there was one in Coventry a while ago. There was some WordPressy in Nottingham or stuff like that. They haven't happened again, but there were a few, because the topics were not really ever really about WordPress. There was one I remember, they were going to talk about advertising, not marketing, but advertising. What? There was one about logo design and graphic design. What? I know we have to think about logos with our clients and whatever, but I don't want to learn about designing and building the logo. It's not. Hey, thank you very much, me, myself, and I. Thank you very much for pointing out the expand and minimize, or whatever it was called. I never respected that button, and I'm so glad I did. So Old Fat Trucker says, I think it should be about tools besides Elementor, how you attract new clients, new techniques. Don't go into how to do would be boring. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, attract new clients, new techniques. The reason why I don't want to step too far outside of Elementor is because we could be entering territory where I may have to spend a lot of time researching as well to make sure the event is useful for other people. And because, and this is where I'm being selfish now, I'm paying for the venue to host it there. And I feel like unless there is sponsorship kicks in, And that's a bit of an area I'm not greatest in, like going out and asking people for money and whatever. But until we get some funding for it, is how do I spend my time? But you make a good point. You know, how are you using AI in the directions that WordPress and Elementor is going? And yeah, we could talk about that. I could be really open. And I think that's an opportunity for me to show that even though I kind of live and breathe Elementor at the moment, I could be very, very vocal about some of my what I think about some things as well. And you know, I think sometimes people need to see that you can love Elementor, but you can also dislike parts of it as well. Thank you, Chris, Webnova. Jurgens, I always wonder what the ideal page length is, especially the homepage. You want me? Yeah, okay. So I actually so one of my uh my $2 packs, I actually do explain that. I call it the sales page. So your homepage is almost like your sales page. And very simply, I would say you're gonna have your hero banner, right? Then underneath that, you're gonna like hero banner just saying, here's what you could get, and here's the change it's gonna make, right? Here's what you need, and this is what it'll do for you. Really quick impact, right? Then underneath, your second section is gonna be about the problems people are having, you know? So you've got this problem and you can't solve this, and this is how it's affecting you, and this is how it's affecting your business. The pain. The first section, right, is the impact, the change. Second section is the pain. The third section is how we're going to sort out that pain, right? So how we're going to sort it out. What are you going to do? There might be a course, there might be a guide, there might be a website build, there might be marketing, it might be about growing, getting new clients. The fourth section is now the evidence. And the evidence could be companies you've worked with, case studies, very short, carousel, right? It could be testimonials, could be Google reviews, it could be examples of work you've done where it's made a difference, right? Then the fifth, so wait, hero banner. I did my fingers wrong then. Hero banner, pain, what you're going to do for them, how they're going to get around that pain, the testimonials or the evidence, and then the fifth thing will be right. This is what you need to get. So you've told them how you're going to help them, but this is what you need to get. You need to get this. So you've told them immediately, here's the change that's going to happen. You've told them about the pain, and they're nodding their head going, yeah, I feel that pain. Now you've told them you're going to fix it. Ooh, I'm interested now. Now you're giving them the evidence. That's your fourth section. Okay, evidence looks real. Testimonials. Change has happened. Now buy. Get it. Click here to get this. Click here to buy the course. Click here to do X, Y, Z. And then underneath that, you might have some further examples, or you might have like when I say further example, you now want to kind of, in a clever way, say, if you don't get that course, which is item 5, you don't get that, you're missing out. You're going to have more pain, more problems, and you're going to regret it. When you think about it like that, there's your 6. And then after that, you have your footer or a gallery or your Insta, like, feed, if you really want to do that. But if you get those 6 things, right? Let's go over it again. Impact, right? Impact, pain. No, yeah, impact, the pain, the problem. How they're going to get around it. How are they going to get around that pain? What are you going to tell them to do? The evidence. Now the product. Now, what are they going to miss out on if they don't? Why it's a mistake. Why they're going to have more problems, and they really should think about making that change. There's your 6 things for your homepage. It doesn't work for every scenario. It won't always work for a shop. It won't always work for simple stuff like a creche or a nursery or a play center or golf. Doesn't always work. But if you think about it, like, look at golf, right? You want the freedom to play golf. The pain. Other places are small. Other places only have 5 holes. Other places don't have bunkers. Other places don't have good instructors or clubs or places to park your car. We've got that, right? How are you going to fix the pain? We've got that. We've got top quality instructors. We've got massive 18-hole courses. We've got a bar. We've got a restaurant, changing rooms. We've got a club, right? Okay. And then you're going to give them testimonials. People going, we love it. We love this place. Now join. Join our golf membership. And then you're going to let them know, look, you don't have to join. You could go elsewhere. But remember, if you want all of these benefits and rewards, you need to come along. And that's where you might throw in a offer. And by the way, we've got a special discount for the next month. You do that and it gets across. I need to do a video on that. Or maybe I'll turn this into a video. And if you're watching, I probably already have turned it into a video. But I think that's a really great way to set up your homepage, your sales page. People often don't realize your homepage is your sales page. Did that help, Jürgen? Did that kind of give you a good example? So I kind of laid it out, and then we did a golf example, which, you know, very out there. I don't even play golf, but did that kind of make it feel real or realistic? An old fat trucker is right. It depends on the topic, the layout, the style. You know, you get your point across, you know, and that's why I feel like the impact and the pain, you get those two right, that should hook them in. Because then, you know, if you look, right, I'm not being judgmental here, right? But if someone's trying to lose weight and your impact is, this is how you're going to lose weight. No, not how you lose weight. This is how we're going to change your life. And then you talk about the pain. You tried diets, you tried this, you tried X, Y, Z. You actually put on more weight. It wasn't working. Your stamina's not there. You know, your self-esteem is sinking. If people want to lose weight, they're going to read that and go, yeah, that's me. And then you go into, this is what we're going to do about it. You've drawn them in. And I feel like, I'm not going to say it always works, but it might just be enough to, and I don't even want to say lure them in, because you don't want it to be trickery. You don't want to mislead, misrepresent, or feed on people's emotions. But sometimes you have to feed on the pain. Because when people relate to what you're saying, you're halfway there to convincing them to go ahead. It's why people advertise food and drinks on TV and commercials. They want to say to you that, you know, if you're hungry or you're thirsty, this is what you need, you know, and it often works. Yeah. So remember, if you haven't already gone and had a look at the page auditor, give it a spin. It's for Elemental, right? I haven't built it completely for every other page builder and theme out there, because it becomes very unpredictable as to what you're going to be assessing and how they all work in their back end. But give the page auditor a go, because I think it's going to give a lot of web accessibility tools, a lot of other audit tools, a lot of advice out there a run for their money, because this is free and you can use it. You can play with it, and hopefully you evolve as a web designer, and it opens your eyes, and you will now see things on your page that you never realized were either there or were a potential problem. So make sure you go and have a look. Yeah, an old fat trucker's right. That's very true, right? Be very precise with your wording, which is why in the page auditor, if your headings are more than 12 words or 80 characters, it flags it. Headings should be scannable. Headings should not be 100 words. I've seen people where their H1 is like that. And I'm like, no one cares. If you expect me to now study what you've said, in fact, I'm actually looking more at your grammar mistakes. Forget the words. Oh, there's a comma there, and you did that, and that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't follow on, and why is there a preposition? you know, too many adjectives, stuff like that, right? So you need to kind of like think about the length of your headings. And like I said, if I'm alerting you to it, you can ignore it. There's no scoring here. 100% score. Here's a certificate with a massive green tick. None of that. You can ignore it if you want. You can even hide it as a toggle. But if you absorb it and you learn and you change how you build and you take that with you, because you don't need to use the head auditor forever. You could use it on a few websites, learn, and then it's instilled in your head now, isn't it? You're suddenly going to go, crap, I've never stopped to consider. Every time my client said to me, here's the heading, it was a load of text, I just stuck it in. Now I'm going to go back and go, you do know that that's too long. It's going to make you sound more professional. When you now have a client who gives you images, you're going to say, right, what's the alt text we're using? You do know that might impact on your SEO and searchability. You do know that could affect web accessibility and people using screen readers. Suddenly the client's going to go, whoa, no one's ever said that to me. Like, ever. You know your stuff. And that's the power, right? I'm telling you now, if you're working with big businesses, right, they will have heard from a million people that come across going, I'll build your website, I'll do a good job, I'll make it brilliant. There's loads of people out there that say that. But when someone starts to talk to them about the structure of their website, you know, the headings or things like that, you know, little things, web accessibility. I'm sure companies know about that now. You know, it's everywhere at the moment. When you bring intelligence into the conversation, they will see you differently. They will see you as someone who's actually building for their benefit. You've got their best what's the word? You've got their best interests in heart, in your pocket kind of thing, right? You are more of a partner. You're building that relationship, not client designer. Partnership. If you've been following the Web Designer Reset series, and I need to get the latest episodes out, hopefully on Thursday or Friday, probably Friday, episodes 12 and 13. Because I didn't do it last week because I got busy with the page auditor. But if you're following that, that's one of the themes that grows throughout the episodes about the partnership building side of things. You're so right, Old Fat Trucker. I mean, some websites are ridiculously wordy. Like the homepage literally is like a blog post with no image. Well, hardly any images. I hate that. I'm just checking my emails because I still have not heard from the person who hired me for the one-to-one, which I have to cancel because I won't be here. Oh, well, I'll just have to cancel it. I lose out on a bit of money, but I hope they aren't offended. I hope they come back for another time or not. But that's just life, right? So I'm looking forward to hearing from people about their use of the page auditor. Now, you may have a ridiculously long page, and I've tested it and it worked fine for me. Doesn't mean it will work fine for everyone else, but I feel like that is just the way it is. It's free, right? It's not like you paid anything for it. But maybe the next time you're building a brand new website, a bit like the Pix Refiner. Okay, some people have said, oh, I had an issue. And I go, yeah, but your website had 10,000 JPEG images. I can't predict how your host provider is going to react. I can't predict your WordPress and all of that. You know, it should be fine, but I can't predict it. I can't foresee every variable outcome. But a brand new website with Pix Refiner, a brand new website with Load Primer, a brand new website with the audit tool, the font clamp calculator, all of these things that you can get rid of after you've used it, You don't have to keep them on. But at the time of building, you're going to be getting things so much better than you ever have before. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to be setting up this Elemental meetup, hopefully October the 18th. I need to just book it. I would prefer a better venue. I mean, the maximum you can have in there is 45 people, not including me. You are allowed 50, but I'm going to stop it at 45. Otherwise, it could get very crowded in there. You know, lots of sweaty people. You know, lots of developers and website designers. You know, they're all hairy, big beards. You know, lumberjack shirts. You know, really hairy armpits, body odor galore. You know, I have the option of bringing biscuits, but I think what I'll do is I'll actually bring Lynx body spray and say you must spray yourself before you walk into the room. Do we need to pre-book? So here's the thing, Nick, right? You are part of the Web Squadron Facebook group, right? Once I've sorted out, it will be via Meetup. And you'll have to just make sure you got a Meetup account, which you can easily do via Facebook. You know, you can join via Facebook, you know, when you go to the Meetup site, and then it will log you in. Well, it will say, because I'm going to restrict it to 45, because if we have more, I won't be allowed. Basically, the building, the people won't allow it. There's a maximum 45. If I find out that there's a lot of interest, then I will go and find a bigger venue and hopefully get sponsorship. But shall I be honest and tell you what my overall aim is? My airfare, accommodation, and fine dining. Fuck that, old fat trucker. I'd be fucking glad if I got that. But my overall aim is... So my overall aim is... And tell me what you think about this, if anyone is listening right now. Can I make this grow? Can I make this grow to the point that there is like an appetite to bring WordCamp to the UK? And even if we don't bring WordCamp Europe to the UK, can we get a WordCamp UK? Do you know what I mean? I think it's time we get a WordCamp UK, or we build the momentum for it to happen. There's WordCamp London. I don't go to London because, number one, if you're not living in London, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Number one, because it's a little bit unpredictable if the trains are going to be on strike. Then you got to get there. Then you might have to stay over because these events tend to be late. You can travel back, but then, you know, it takes a lot out of your day. Which is why I'm going to do this event at midday to 2 p.m. Hopefully people can attend. Or if they've got kids and they need to drop their kids off somewhere else, it's not impractical because it's in the daytime. It's not like late at night and then you're traveling back or whatever. I hope this will show the Automatic people and others, you need to bring WordCamp to the UK. But hey, Eddie, how you doing? Eddie, go and give the page auditor a spin, my friend, right? You know, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stick it in the comments of the YouTube video. Nick says, if I'm honest, WordCamp itself isn't all that. You know, I'd imagine that this motivates. Well, that's the thing, Nick. That's the thing. I want to make any event or anything I do about, I mean, it's going to be focused on Elementor, but it also about WordPress, about clients, about business, about running your business, about being more clued up, resources, all of that stuff, right? You get what I mean, Nick, right? And I don't want, even if there was a WordCamp, if there was a WordCamp UK, I want to be part of organizing it. You know why? I don't want none of this bullshit talks about how to design your logo and how to do this and go over there and how to do Google security, something or the midgie, whatever, or how to create a lead magnet product, or how to write PHP thingy midgy blah 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 that 99% of web designers and developers do not give a fucking shit about. You want me to pay 150, 200 something for a ticket and the plane fare to get there and sort out accommodation about an event where that much is WordPress and it's more about networking. I'm sorry. Fuck that. If I want to go to an event about WordPress and these are the flagship events, it needs to be about WordPress. And if I'm going to set up an Elementor meetup, we're talking about Elementor. We will deviate into business. We will talk about things that are real, important, and what designers and developers, agencies, freelancers, Fiverr, Upworkers, whoever's want to know about. Not fairy dust stuff that doesn't really matter. I've probably offended a few people. I've probably touched a few nerves, but I think I'm on the trigger with this. I think I'm, I've made it. People have been a bit offended by the noise I made about WordPress cliques and gatekeepers and people that point fingers at others. And I haven't mentioned names, but I have said, web accessibility people look down on people sometimes. If you use Elementor, you get looked down. If you use WordPress, you get looked down. If you get clients a certain way, you get looked down. If you're not in there with the automatic crowd, you get looked down. If you don't attend WordCamps, you get looked down. There's always these little things. But I'm going to make it engaging, passionate, open to new veterans, people that like to use Elementor, WordPress, proud to talk about it. But I also feel like if you go to an event and you come away, you feel like you got something mentally from it. You got something that just made you go, yeah, I'm going to do that now. Or I might consider that. Well, I didn't think about it in that way. That's an interesting aspect. Oh, I met someone. I networked or something. I got to, I don't know, reignite my belief in why I'm doing this. Why did I give up my day job to do this? Why am I not doing something else? Why did I decide to do this knowing that people are going to look and laugh at me? Don't tell me no one has ever laughed at you behind your back, maybe, or to your face. Oh, you're a web designer. What? I want to reignite the passion, the belief that we are designers, developers, coders, digital problem solvers, and we are fucking proud of that. And don't let anyone ever laugh in your face again. Unless they're telling you a joke. Because then you do have to laugh. Do you get what I mean? But that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. That is what I want to do. How many developers are there in the UK? Funny question, old fat trucker. I don't know. I even said to the Elementor people, and I've not had an answer yet. I said, look, I don't want names, but is there any way you can tell me how many people with an Elementor license are from Leicester? That's all I wanted to know, and I haven't had an answer yet. If anyone knows a way of how to find out, please let me know. Because there's tons of people in the UK that use WordPress. But how many are using Elementor in Leicester? I know there's a lot. I know there's a lot because I've spotted some people using Elementor when they're design agencies. But, and I don't want to approach them. I don't want to contact them. But if I'm going to set up an elemental meetup, it's very difficult to do market research. You know, like, where do you live? How far are you from Leicester? Can you get here on time? It becomes very difficult. Old Fat Trucker's right. Only go to conferences that actually will improve my business and my income. And that is why I have not gone to any WordCamp so far. I don't see how they would actually improve my business or my income. That's the trouble, Jurgen. I did say, yeah, I understand privacy and all of that. And it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's so. I just wish there was a way I could. Like, I even thought about. I thought about it, but then I thought I could offend people here. But I almost wanted to do a poll in the Elemental Global group and go, how many people are from the UK, right? And what part of the UK are you from? And I was only going to go for like shires or regions like East Midlands, West Midlands, London, you know, South, Southeast Yorkshire, you know, that kind of thing. I thought about it. Maybe I should do it. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'll tell you the worst thing. I could get suspended from the Global Elemental Group. But do you know what? I don't care. I really, 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 really don't care if I ever get suspended from any WordPress group. I really don't care. Do you know that? Because I've got my Web Squadron community group. And I feel like I still do way more than I need to in the elemental groups and other places. You know, I don't care. So, should I do it? Should I start a poll? The trouble is, though, right? It's very easy for loads of people that are not in the UK to start clicking on a poll. Like, there might be someone from Australia, and they're not from the UK, but they'll go and go, yeah, I'm from Yorkshire. And then it skews the results. That's the trouble with polls, isn't it? Sometimes you see a poll and you go, I don't really care. I'm just going to click it, kind of thing. Such a pity that, isn't it? We don't have this like Elemental tell us, well, how many they got? 15 million? 14 million? 15 million active users or licensed users? Wouldn't it be lovely if we just had a map of the world or something that kind of told us, like, from different countries or regions in a country, how many people were from where? Wouldn't you love to know that? Wouldn't you love to know, maybe, like Jurgen, right? In your city, in your area, there's like 10,000 people using Elemental, and you're going to go, shit, I never knew. North Hants. I mean, it's a bit of a drive. I mean, it's, you know, when you say just down the road, I was like, no kidding. Are you really? What, like there? And then I read the rest of it. North Hants, Cambridge Water. I mean, it's not a bad drive. It's like an hour, isn't it? Roughly an hour-ish, I think. Ish. Old Fat Trucker, I'm always amused by the people that are ashamed of using... Do you know something, Old Fat Trucker? That happens. People are ashamed of either saying they use Elementor or they use WordPress, let alone admitting I'm a web designer or a web developer. Because unfortunately, there is still this stigma about, you know, if you say you're a logo designer or you do social media marketing, you know, there's even this stigma about, oh, I use AI. And whenever I say, yeah, I use AI every day, they go, oh, you're using it to find out about the weather. Oh, that's so silly. And I'm like, I'm actually creating programs and codes and stuff. Oh, what's the point in that? And in my head, all I'm thinking is, fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck off, you little fucker. You know? But I think my mouth was so close to them that even when I whispered, it probably sounded really loud. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan anyway, you know. And you know something? This is how adventurous I feel. Okay, this is how adventurous I feel. If I can make this work, maybe I'll travel a bit. Maybe I'll do the event in Northampton one day, right? Maybe I'll do the event one day in Nottingham, meetup. Maybe I'll do it in like Derby. Maybe I'll even go to Manchester. Maybe I'll go down to somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? But it could end up becoming a bit of a like a traveling circus thing. No one's done that, have they? And that might build the traction for a future WordCamp UK. Do you think? Do you agree? You know? And for instance, let's just say I do a couple in Leicester and then I go, right, I'm gonna go to Northampton now or wherever. Sam, what do you think? Where should we go? And then when I go do it, I might go, hey Sam, do you want to help co-present? Do you want to help like talk about some stuff as well? Doesn't have to be all me. Do you get what I mean? Maybe I go somewhere and Nick is around. We go, hey Nick, do you want to do something? Maybe I go somewhere Eddie is. Eddie, do you want to do a bit of a talk? Not a talk, but maybe just talk about your experiences or how you have found things because you do blogs. Eddie, I don't know if Eddie's still here, but you do a lot of blog posting. Do you get what I mean? It's not then about just one person presenting. It becomes a community meetup. Of course, I'll still have the final say on the final decision. Do you get what I mean? But you don't need to talk, Nick, but it could just be like you get to play a part, and you get thanked. And when you get thanked for helping set up as well, not set up, but find a suitable venue or, whatever, you'll get thanked, as well. Your website link, all of that. I'm just reading some of the comments. I think people just have a clear I think people just don't have a clear picture of advantages of using a page builder. It's easy to make it, easy to build websites. So you pay. Yeah, exactly. And I hope that these meetups become somewhere for people who are not web designers and developers. Not because I want their business, not because of that. But because if I then find out, well, there's people who actually are struggling to build. Okay, you know what? We'll do a meetup, which now it's going to be 2 hours, crash course on building out your homepage. Boom, 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 boom. Right? That's what we could end up doing as well. Do you get me? And let's say you did that in Northampton and people are still struggling. But now we've got Sam. We've got other web designers there. Oh, look, go to Sam. Sam could help you out. They could help you out. They could help you out. I'm not doing this just for me. I am going to pay 96 fucking pounds to go and hire a venue. It's actually going to cost more than that. It's probably going to come to 150 because I'll have to hire it for the time before and the time after. My back pocket. Because I want to build a better community. And I want to sing and dance about, yeah, I use Elemental. Yeah, I use WordPress. Yeah, I'm a web designer. Yeah, I run an agency. Yeah, I have YouTube. Do you know how many people laugh when they find out? They go, oh, you're a YouTube channel. Ha, ha, ha. Is that what you do for a living? And I'm like, I do a shitload other more stuff as well. I got my agency. I got my YouTube stuff I do. But I do other collaboration and stuff, which has nothing to do with WordPress. I do other things as well. I still do business consultancy with the NHS. I still analyze and liaise with people and mentor people as well. But when I don't like it when people laugh at us for what we do because we don't laugh at them. You know, if you met someone and you were like, "Oh, what do you do?" And they say, "Oh, I clean toilets." Would you laugh at them? If you met someone and and you say, "What do you do?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, I rubbish person." You know, when the rubbish vans come round and they your wheelie bin. Would you laugh at them? But why do people laugh at us? Why do people form an opinion and mock us? I'm saying no. Enough is enough. That's just me, probably. I can be controversial, but hey. Um, why not meet in a pub? The problem is, Sam, right? I tell you what the problem is, Sam, right? I used to go to writing events. We're going back 15 years ago now, 10 years ago even. And some of them were held in pubs. The problem with the pubs is either they were too small, either they were too noisy, or um it was difficult to have like a screen. Maybe you were going to present on a screen as well. And sometimes you found like people were dispersed quite a bit. And it always became difficult. That has been on my mind. There are a few venues in Leicester I do want to speak to. But it is one of those, it's a difficult one. Absolutely, Nick. Treat people as you want to be treated. Absolutely. Do you know that? Right? Absolutely. You know, um, could always go for a drink after if people. Yeah, well, that's why Leicester City Centre works quite well. And where the area, the venue I'm planning at the moment, it's the Phoenix Arts in Central City, Leicester, and um, it's got like this cafe as part of it, quite a big cafe. You know, drinks and food and stuff as well, or whatever. You know, if people want to talk or whatever, or people might just want to run away, or I might want to run away. I think after 2 hours, I might be like, forget it, I want to go now. Piss off, everyone. Piss, you know, go and have a piss up, piss off, or whatever. All right, everyone, we've been live now for 1 hour 26. My son will be, no, he's not, he's got football. But I've got to sort out this damn person who's hired me and cancel them. I'm just going to give him a refund and say, sorry, can't do it. End of. Right, I am going to jump off. Hopefully you're going to hear more about this October 18. I think talking about it with you all, even though I'm talking, but your comments have inspired me to get on with it. Right, get on with it. All right, everyone, stay safe. Look after yourselves. I probably will be live tomorrow. And I'll tell you how my birthday meal went. Did I enjoy it or not? Please use the page auditor. Give it a go. Have fun with it. And I hope it helps you to evolve and make a difference. See you all soon.